Oh, hey everybody! Well, what is it? It's earlier. It's only 12:30 instead of 1 o'clock. Wow, I'm ahead of myself. Good morning to you, or evening, or whenever you get this. I know I'm kind of a mess. It's been a long day. It's just if you don't know, I work for a living, and I do this stuff for fun. Someday, maybe for a living. And I do trading because I want to retire in the next 15 months. So anyway, and I have multiple plans for that. So today we're kind of checking in on if you watched the episode from earlier today, you'll know that I launched a bot, I don't know, a day ago. And I didn't do it the way I normally would have because I wanted to demonstrate something. And I can't really just throw it up there. There's some tech that enable me to do that. I haven't figured out how to interface my phone. I can record videos on it now and then I could play them later. But right now, earlier today, things were dipping. In fact, let's turn this on here for a little bit. I'm not going to do the whole overview because I'll do a quick overview right here. So I'm for bots right now. I'm using either XRP or Ethereum for bots. So this is the 12-hour, this is the daily, and this is the weekly. So what am I seeing here? On the weekly, I'm seeing it's kind of going down and sideways, but do you see how the lines are like kind of converging? See how this is kind of like coming and going sideways? See how this is already sideways? Just tell me things are going sideways. I've been reading all sorts of weird little news things, but the channel's a downward channel, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, yeah, sure, whatever. There's been a lot of crazy things happening in the last month, which kind of really messes up some of the consistency. But you know what? There's been a lot of crazy things happening with crypto since the beginning of crypto. Let's take a look at kind of more of, see what's going on here. So what I got in at 37.50 something. So I got in somewhere 30, somewhere around here. I think it was somewhere around here. I don't know. I think it might have been here, went up, and then it kind of came crashing down. That's what I'm thinking. Probably started it somewhere in here. Anyway, and I was sort of expecting this to happen based on what I've been observing. So now, if you're doing futures trading, like high leverage, you want to like get in down here, right? A lot of folks may have gotten in here, gotten out up here. This would have happened. They may have switched, started shorting, made money on the way down, got out. I mean, people do that. Because of my little impairments and things that I've been dealing with, they're more annoyances than anything. I just peace of mind is important to me, so I kind of plan my life around peace of mind. Like for example, I work a swing shift, right? So the best time, if I want like guaranteed easy money, I'd hang out between about, I don't know, 4 a.m. and 7 a.m. when the U.S. market's open. Just some crazy stuff happens, and when you've got the skill level that I have developed, you can make a lot of money off those crazy things that do happen. But right now, I'm kind of like I got so many projects going on. This is what kind of like where my heart is. This DDTC thing and POTU thing, right? And my job is my job, provides a baseline, and I've kind of got like a 14 or 15 month timeline to retire there. And what's that about? Well, I'll be basically 59 and a half years old this year, right? Or 59, yeah. So somewhere in that age 60, I can choose early retirement, but I have a vesting period that happens, which is kind of cool because we don't. Most everyone knows about 401ks, investment programs, but very few people know about pensions. Well, I kind of I'll be clipping off my next 5-year pension thing, so it just kind of just makes sense to nail that down. And my partner Diana, or Goddess Diana, or the Octavia Goddess, she's kind of doing the same thing strategically. So, all right. So where are we at? We were at strong sell yesterday. We're kind of moving up to sell today in these technicals. To me, this this is this tells me buy. I mean, these things should be reversed in my world for most part. A lot of folks would argue with me on that, but that's okay. It's all right. I'm not here to argue with anyone. Let's see what's in the news. Anything interesting in the news? Price analysis for March 16th, blah, blah, blah. Sums up what will happen if SEC prevails in the XRP legal brawl against Ripple. Well, this came out 13 hours again, so I wonder what his commentary was. Security change in favor of XRP, vocal, blah, 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 higher might happen. Security. Oh, this is just speculation. I don't really care about that. It's always doomsday stuff. I might read it later or tomorrow morning or something. But what I'm seeing happen here is kind of went down and tested 35.50. I was expecting to go lower actually. And then it bottomed out and went sideways. People were accumulating it and people start buying it again. And it's probably going to wander its way back up to here. I'm kind of hoping it'll wander its way back up to. Can I do it? Can I do it? Can I do it? Can I do it? Somewhere up in here. Kind of what I'm hoping. I'll probably get out somewhere, probably around up in here. What did I get in at? 37.53. So I got in about here. So yeah, I was kind of a gamble because I thought either it's going to keep going down, which I pretty much knew it was going to, or it's going to bounce off from this and go up. And, could have gone either way. And what I should have done is I should have just waited, and then I would have seen this happen, and I would have seen this happen, and then I would have set a trap for probably 35. If I wanted to get in for sure, went down as low as 35.61. Well, can I see where it is? How low did it go? 35.60. So like 73.83, something like that. See, with bots, unlike high leverage trading, you just want to be in the range. And the range for this bot, what is the range? The range for this bot is all the way down to here, 3,300, and all the way up to 40. So 40. Yeah. So that's the range. So as long as this thing is going up and down in this range, my bot's making money. So my bot's kind of upside down in terms of price, which is normal, but it's scalped $4.85. So what is that? Sorry for that. I could play music while I calculate these things. Kind of I got all these new features, and so it's 1% going on 2%, almost 1.33% ROI based on the amount of money that's at work here. So that's pretty good. 24 hours, 1%. My goal is 2%, but my goal is an average 2% a day. All right. So is it doing anything that's unexpected? It was really kind of a major upside down earlier today, but it's recovering. So it's kind of cool. I'll probably lower the exit to probably, let's see, where's get control of my mouse here. I'll probably set the exit to be about, I don't know, 38. Well, there's 38 something. I don't know. Maybe up here somewhere. Oh, I did 6x leverage, so it's a little bit higher leverage. Might let it ride for a little bit and I'll manually exit. Anyway, that's the status of it. It looks like I'll probably be in that for another day. Excuse me. Maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. It doesn't really matter. Why doesn't it matter? Well, I'm not in a hurry. I want to be I'm on a plan. What's important for me is consistency of results. That's what's really important for me. That's my world. Now, if you tune into any of my previous shows, you'll have seen that I've basically demonstrated this calculator. I got I'm getting ahead of myself. I've got a little outline tonight. So let's see. I already did that. Oh, Patreon. So the whole Patreon thing, they did something new. I was really, really kind of pleased. A lot of folks kind of avoid it because a lot of times with Patreon, you sign up for it, and then on the first you get billed again. So if you were like to sign up on the 28th, on the first you get billed again. So like blah blah. So they have this new subscription billing where it just rebills you on the date that you sign up. And I had to activate it. So I just want to let everyone know that I activated that. So I want to let you know the spreadsheet that probably everyone's drooling over. Cindy's been drooling over. This is the bot that I've been talking about here. The results so far, mission one. Quick recap what missions are. Missions are where you're doubling your money. Mission one is where you start with whatever you're starting with. It would be $5, $250, $1,000. In this case, this mission started with $250 on February 14th. And it's a process. And I've been developing this spreadsheet actually for years, but this is an adaptation of a spreadsheet that I use that guides me for making decisions for high leverage trading. Although we're not doing high leverage trading with bots. I mean, the most leverage we can do is 10x, and right now, the trade I'm in right now is at 6x. So I might later, depending on this goes, I may show the cycles again just for fun review. But anyway, this is now. I just want to show you what's going on here. So I have a special directory for this, and I'll probably move this over to the account that hosts this YouTube. But this is what was released today. Now, these top two folders, there's nothing in them. And I'm undecided on whether I should if I dump all the information in, and let me just show you what a small piece of the information looks like here. Let me get this out of the way. See this admin thing? You guys don't have access to this. This is like lots of content, lots of content. Training content. And what I've noticed in the last 2 years is friends and family, I've had this available and it just overwhelms them. And I don't want to overwhelm anybody here that's working with me. So what I want to do is start with some really basic stuff. So there's several things that are next. And I'm just pretending like I'm brand new, we're all brand new, and I'm going to get out of this. Where here, why did this? Oh, I must hit this. I was like, where did it go? Okay. So this stuff is available right now. So Patreon subscribers can access this. There's a couple things I'm dropping in here for. This may change, but I'm just sharing with you where I'm at. So the Lotto calculator, which I demonstrated over the weekend, let me bring this up, is now available. And let me make this bigger. So this is like if you ever want to plan on you want to win the big lotto, like the $2.2 billion, I want you to think about what would you do with it? What's your plan? Why I'm working on a book literally about are you ready to be a billionaire so it doesn't ruin your life. Most people don't know that 70% of big lottery winners ruin their lives within their first 5 years. They're worse off. You're asking yourself, like I am, well, how could that be? Well, I got a whole book that I'm going to be releasing to that. Most likely, the draft will be released to Patreon subscribers, and I'll probably make it available for sale on Amazon or something like that. If you were to talk to Cindy or anyone that's been working with me the last couple of years, I've basically been doing it for free because it's just like I want to not have any barriers for people figuring this stuff out. I want you to become financially empowered. What I learned though is people who receive the things for free didn't really take action on it, and which is kind of really weird because they couldn't even get through the to-do list. Okay, so I figured out, well, if someone pays at least $5 to get to access to the to-do list, which will save them oodles and oodles of time. The security training alone is probably something I could take to corporate America and charge $1,000 a head for security administrators to learn how to do passwords properly and things. And I'm just providing that as part of this overall. I want to build a society long term. Okay. So, anyway, I've talked about the grand vision usually at the end of these things. So I'm not going to get into it early. So anyway, this is just a cool little thing. So I got this set up. So $2 billion lottery. This is based on living in Oregon. You can, look up your own tax for your own state. If you're in a different country, you have to figure it out for yourself. This is for US, whatever. So right now, I think for Oregon, between state and federal, I calculated 45%. And it's complicated because it's like the first amount of dollars is taxed at a certain rate, and then another. It's just a complicated mess. People just usually assume it's 50%, and it's actually probably less than that. At this level, does it really matter? It doesn't. No. There's reasons to do the annuity versus a lump sum. I used to be a cash flow consultant somewhere along the last 25 years, and where if you get the annuity, right, 20 years or 30 years, whatever it is, you can sell those for immediate cash. Anyway, you probably, but I'm in a lotto pool, so they all want cash, and I don't really care. Um, so each person, if you had 4 people in the pool, would get $300 million. Kinda cool, right? And if you were to get tax-free municipal bonds, it means you don't have to pay taxes on it or play with complex tax structures and stuff. You'd have was it $756,250 a month to deal with. Yeah. Is that absurd? So when you hear about billionaires and yet when you ever ask yourself, "Why aren't they doing more?" I ask the same question. So, anyway, this spreadsheet is letting you explore kinda what's possible for winning the lottery. I think it's cool. I I I think it's important if you've never played with these numbers, you can put in, like, what you currently make, whatever it is, higher or lower than this, and then figure out what an upgrade to your life was and what would be your dream life. I have other spreadsheets that really do a deep dive in this. Most people don't know what their numbers are. And they just wanna become millionaires. I can tell you right now after running the numbers, $1,000,000 is not enough depending on what your age is. For me, I'm age 58 and a half. It's about $2,000,000 net being put to work, which would replace my income for as long as I might live type of thing. I've run the numbers. Shout out to MJ DeMarco in his book Millionaire Fastlane, great book for young people. And then there's been 2 releases, one called Unscripted and the other one Unscripted, dealing with the rat race kind of things, kind of story forming it. Anyway, he's all about entrepreneurship and cool stuff. If you got a big dream for a business, he's your guy. And if you're older like I am and you want to, like, find out why it's not working for you, your 401k, the markets, your pensions, your retirement, your Social Security, he's run the numbers because that's what he does. He's like an analyst at a whole 'nother level. I'm kind of anal retentive. MJ just, like, does a deep dive into it, and you'll get depressed. You figure out, "Well, gotta figure something out." And there's a lot of people selling stuff to figure stuff out. I bought a trading course for $1,500. It was okay. It got me started, but yeah, I figured out stuff within 30 days after my first liquidation. My training budget at that time was $1,200. Learned so much from it. That liquidation was worth more to me than the $1,500 course. And anyway, it's just kind of weird. So I have a bigger dream than that. I figure someone with bad information or okay information can charge $1,500. My stuff's worth $333,333.33 after you've completed mission 20, which you can calculate it starting with $5. And what is that? Well, take 5 times 2, that's mission 1, $10. 10 times 2 is $20, mission 2, and you do that 20 times. So that dollar amount is 6.66% as a tip. And actually, I don't really want it. I want the organization to have it because I'm wanting to build something that will take the principles of empowerment and it'll outlast me. It's just my thing. All right. Let's see here. Anyway, so this spreadsheet's already available. Kind of cool. And I think everyone should play with it. It'll let you know whether the lotto is big enough, your local state lotto is big enough for you to waste your dollar on it. This other, the bot spreadsheet that I've been demonstrating, right? I finally got to a point where I think there's only one error in it, and you won't even notice it. And I think I talked about it in another video. I'm not going to revisit it. I'll fix it one of these days when I get around to it. It's totally irrelevant to actually using this, and I have it all set up. And you can change this. If you change this to, um, let's say, Ethereum, right? It'll just automatically update across. See, it says ETH. Just cool little things. And I've blocked it, so if you try to edit something that's protected, oh, it knows who I am. That's why it's letting me do it. It'll pop you up with a warning. So if you accidentally do something, you can just undo it. But anyway, what you do is you when you get access to this, you just as a patron, so you just come in here and you need to be logged into your YouTube account and you just make a copy. You name it whatever you want, and you can make, like I have another one of these spreadsheets for Ethereum, yeah, that I'm working with. I had it all in. I had multiple. Let me. Can't talk and think and do multiple things like I used to. All in the same sheet, but it gets convoluted. So my suggestion is just one asset per bot sheet. That way you can just monitor the cycles. And anyway, this is now available. I made this available today. Will it get better? I think Cindy and Susan might be playing with this soon. If they find an error, they'll let me know. We'll fix it. And in all the stuff that I do, there's a change log, so you can track that. So anyway, just it's available now. That's a big point. Exploring cycles. Let's see. Go back to cycles. We'll come back to this. All right. So that's available now. In here, I have when I'm working on next is a sheet. So here is a document that I created for my son, for one human being, and I let some friends and family in on it, where I created a system with misspellings, obviously. Um, anyway, so this is the table of contents, right? And this is the document. Can I page down? Will it let me page down? Why? Oh, this isn't the actual document. This is the table of contents. There's a lot of data in here. Screen captures, prints, everything. I did this. I spent like a month ahead of my son coming over to spend 3 days with me to do an immersion training on how to do high leverage training, right? And all this is already done. And what I'm going to be doing, it was overwhelming for him being with me. Imagine being with me and we're doing it together for 3 or 4 days. And he was kicking it. He left and he completed mission one like within days. So it was a lot of work, but that work has already been done. Notice how I can't dim these lights any further, and this is like too much light. Oh, I can dim that one down a little bit. I should see if I put this in dark mode. But anyway, this is what I'm working on. I have what's called a SamCart thing, which is a professional training platform. So what I'm thinking about doing is migrating this training, creating the videos to go with each segment, and putting it in SamCart and making that available to Patreon subscribers. It's a project in itself, but that's really what's next. And you know what's the most important part of what's next for this is just the security and the to-do list. Like where to set up your accounts, why to set up accounts there. I'm even thinking about hammering out a financial sovereignty section because if you're a U.S. citizen, when are they going to start enforcing whether or not you can trade? Well, what do? Well, you use a VPN and you set up accounts around the world from, let's say, Dubai, where you have freedom, where you don't have it here in the US, or the Netherlands, or maybe you mix it up and you create a set of accounts. Anyway, you set yourself up just, you're being a prepper to protect your freedom. So if you ever have to like immigrate to another country, let's say some demographic of the United States gets power and you get to either convert to their belief system or die or a one-way ticket elsewhere, you got the infrastructure set up. I don't think that's going to happen, but what's cool about infrastructure is you set up. Most people don't think about it. And if you don't set it up right out of the blocks, you have a massive process to do it right later. So I've got the process so you don't have to. I've got years of work ahead of me with thousands of passwords and things to just update. But I designed it in a way where I was able to cinch down my control on certain things. So anyway, I got some really cool stuff to teach everybody. It starts with infrastructure and security, the most boring two things in the world, I know. But I don't want to have anyone associated with I don't want to read about you in the newspaper. I started with $250 and I completed mission 20, and I had I did it inside of a Roth and a personal and made $10 million, and I lost it all because I didn't have good security. Not happening on my watch, my friends. You're just gonna have to go through with it. So I'm thinking about like stepping it through like through a training thing, do this, and when this is done, you get to the next piece. So you're not overwhelmed. It's kind of like a breadcrumb trail. Now, if someone wants to be overwhelmed and you're a crazy person, you already have it down pat, I'll probably can create a section. You just let me know and I can let you into the brain dump stuff that my friends have had to deal with. 2 years worth. All right. So, but this is what's available right now. And then I'm also putting it in like my own little insider notes for you guys. See, this was yesterday, right? This is funny. So when I write the stuff up, I don't have necessarily the spell correcting stuff activated. And in my primary system, I do have it. So it just, anyway, just fix it. All right. So anyway, you can come in here at any time and see where I'm at and where the project's at. Anyway, and I'll be doing it. I'm still learning how to interface with Patreon because I've supported people, but I've never been a creator on it. And there's a lot of tools there, and I don't know how to use them. And I'm not going to wait till I've got it mastered. It's just going to be really crazy sloppy first, and it's just going to get better. Okay. And all this, and I've got one subscriber. Oh, someone's tuned in. I didn't notice. Hello, person out there. Well, no. Seriously, my mouse. Oh, the Twitch person. Hello, Twitch person. I don't know if that's the same person that's been tuning in for last week, but hello. I want you to know that I'm noticing you're there. Um, and I need to explore Twitch, but I'm really funneling things through YouTube to have it monetized. So when people just tune in and watch, it supports the mission. Anyway, this is available now. How much of this stuff am I going to be able to get done? I mean, I work full time. My days off are Sundays and Mondays, so expect a lot of things getting done on Sundays and Mondays. If I don't end up turning into like a podcaster with video, like I did on Monday, what I spent all afternoon, like 3 hours, just doing a deep dive. And I spent a lot of time talking about myself and all that sort of thing. So let me see where I am on my agenda for this evening. What's next? Peek at did that. Training next. Yeah, I've actually, oh my goodness, I stayed pretty much for the most part on track. Now I noticed that YouTube and other places I had like too much stuff in the information pieces. So I'm kind of like trying to reduce it and the information down. But most of the links for everything about here is in I'm trying to put it in the description. And I think YouTube has 5,000 characters, so it should all be there. And anyway, I'm trying to like simplify, start like crazy, and then I just simplify. Um, Today I'm doing a pretty good job staying focused, so I'm having less impairment issues, which is really kind of weird because we had short staff at where I work today, and it made the night go by really, really fast. I'm really, really tired, so I'm kind of like half asleep. All the caffeine is worn off for the day, and yet I'm able to focus. It's kind of cool. I'm impressed. The brain heals. All right. I'm just looking. Oh, there's all sorts of other stuff. So I'm thinking about renaming things. I know this goes contrary to all the YouTube training. It should be just like DDTC Wealth or bots or each channel should have its own training thing. And it's just like, no, I can't do that. I've got so many accounts as it is. I've been there, done that. This is about creating a system of wealth generation. That's the crypto piece of it, but not necessarily just crypto, right? It can be options, Forex. Will expand as we grow as an organization. Because what happens if we wake up and we don't have access to leverage? Well, bots is a solution, probably through 3 commas, right? VPNing and sneaking in is another solution that works. It still works. But we need to be prepared for that. But these principles work in all the markets. They'll work with options. I just haven't done it. Can't teach you something I haven't done. It'll work with stocks. It'll work with Forex, just migrate it over. Leverage is the key though, right? So when I'm doing high leverage trading and I've got access to 200x leverage, I set up the account and moved $100 into it. I just haven't had the time to even look at it, let alone play with it. But the 100x stuff, man, I wouldn't even get into a trade unless I could make 30% ROI in the trade. And it usually would take me, I was trading with like a third of the account based on how I had it set up. So it'd take me 3 trades to double my money to complete a mission. Yeah, that's how I leapfrogged from 0 to $5 to mission 10 and a half. And then I got a little bit too greedy. It wasn't even really greedy. The market was starting to take off. and the FTX. Rich pricks at $28 billion wasn't enough money for the guy living in his own little sex commune for which he was the founder in the Bahamas with rich parents, had to defraud already wealthy people. Already wealthy people defrauding already wealthy people, impacting all of us other people wanting to become wealthy. It was the most, I was so angry. I stopped trading for a month. I was so pissed off. And I had to come to terms with the fact was I should have accounted for the possibility of the unknown, which I really did to a certain extent, but not to that level. But anyway, so bots is kind of different from that because, your top leverage is 10x, right? And, 3x, 5x is kind of like I call homeless David. One level stuff takes about 60 days to complete a mission. Right in the middle there, it looks like I'm thinking somewhere between 30 and 40 days, right? But I deliberately made a mistake today because I realized, wait a second, I'm showing everybody what it looks like after you know what you're doing. Well, today, last night, I thought, I'll just get in the way probably most people would get in. And, I'm upside down and it's turning around. And I went through that already earlier. So right now it's kind of dipping a little bit. What time is it? Oh, it's 1 o'clock. So yeah, it had there's like a little rally when the market's open and one happens around midnight. I trade that sometimes for fun. Anyway, so we're kind of stuck until the next cycle completes. And right now it has scalped about 1% last time I looked. I can take another look here. I wish I could just press a button to turn on background music when I do this, but let's see here. Yeah, $4.85 scalped, so it's a little bit over 1%, 1.25%, and it'll complete its cycle, or it won't. And if it dips down further and doesn't complete a cycle, I'm stuck in it. What I'll probably do is I'll just start another bot of equal value and just start it at the bottom and let it do it, and then it'll dollar average out and I'll get up. But that's an advanced top. That's the first time I've even mentioned that strategy here. Mr. Ms. Twitch, you just got a gem. Just saying. All right, let's see here. Oh, look, it's kind of doing its thing. This one down here is 5 seconds, 15 seconds. Oh, look at this. This is actually a nice setup for high trading. All right, I'm not going to do it. So tempting. High leverage trading, once you get used to it, is very addictive. It's like you get good at it, like so good that you never take a loss because you're playing by a different set of rules, and you're like, how everyone else is playing by a certain set of rules, and you know what their rules are. So because you know what their rules are, you can kind of like take advantage of the patterns they create because they're all following the same rules. Well, that's kind of what I figured out how to do. And I didn't want everyone in the world to know how to do this stuff, which is why I'm kind of like saving the cool stuff for later. But anyway, so there's another spreadsheet that I want to release. So if I go back here, the Patreon stuff, see this thing about to-do list structure, that's a priority. Notice this 0, 1, 2, 3. This is how I organize stuff. Just a tip. And I can reorganize this stuff. If something else takes a priority, I could name this like 2 and it'll auto sort. It's a cool little thing I do in my email. I've been doing for years with stuff. All right. So, but there's this other exploring what's possible based on your income. Now I'm revisiting this because there's a story here behind this. Because Diana was so frustrated at work last year. She says, I just want to replace my income with trading. And she's got the chops to do it. She has, she runs up about the same stats as I do. She outperforms most of the rest of the world where there's 20 million users. Anyway, I've already done that. If you're the same Twitch person, you've already seen it in the previous videos. She's just like a couple points below where I'm at. Anyway, so I started working on, well, how can we replace her? So for me, it's like, let's make a spreadsheet. Where are we at now? How much you making an hour? I think the last time I did a video privately last year around this. Now, I have not worked with this, so we're going to go through this a little bit. This is not going to be a train. I'll probably do it in the weekend after I play with, make sure there's no errors in it. But the purpose of it is you can like put in your birthday, right? I, I'd ask you, but I don't know how to do the chat system, and I'm not logged into Twitch, so you couldn't reply to me. But you put in someone's birthday, 98, whoever that is, and you put in whatever your annual that's I know who that was that I did this for. Let's just say someone who's making $45,000 a year. They're semi-skilled and they're working 5 days a week. So, they're making $173 a day, $3,750 a month. It runs the numbers. And then it's kinda cool. It's like, what's it gonna cost to buy back your life? Most people don't know this. It's a pain in the ass to figure out without a calculator. So I created this little thing, like, so if you were so 860 based on you being born in 1998, you'll be 60 2058, and you're going to need a lump sum of 1,602,123 dollars. Depending, I think this is based on an annuity. I don't remember. That's one of the issues. I used to be able to remember stuff like this, right? I don't remember what the basis was. I guess we could figure it out. 365. I'll have to read. I'll create documentation to go with it. I just threw this together because I wanted to know what the numbers were. So, like, let's see here. Uh, it's just easier to do it this way. My birthday. 6/14. It's the same birthday as Mr. Trump. We are definitely not the same human being. Whether you love him or hate him, prior to things, I thought he was pretty cool and interesting character. Now that I've gotten to know him, not so much. All right. I'm not going to get into it. Well, I'm going to do a political session one time just to share my views because a lot of folks, that's important to them. I just want everyone to do their job. They take an oath, honor your oath. I don't see anyone honoring their oath except for a couple folks. They kind of cycle in and out. If they're just doing honoring their oath, we'd probably be doing all right as a country. Um, let's that's I don't want to show people how much I make, so we'll just leave it at that. Um, yeah. 860 2024. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I don't even understand the basis of this, but it's something to do with an annuity based on your age. So if your birthday's here when you reach age 60, what are you going to need to do if you were to retire, right? So if I wanted to retire, right, based on this today, to replace that income, it's there it is, a lump sum of that, but that's not really true. And I don't know. I have to review it, but you get the gist of it, right? This is kind of a cool exploring what's possible. The inspiration behind this, I already mentioned MJ DeMarco's book. That was very inspiring. Oh, have we seen this somewhere before in another spreadsheet? Oh, wow. Kind of familiar, huh? So this is kind of okay. So if you're doing emissions based on trading, not bots, it's a little bit different context here, right? This is more advanced stuff. This is stuff where you're going to have to deal with your mind game, right? And so I create this as um, I had my son Matthew. Shout out to him, and when he watches this, he got in a situation. He co-signed for a vehicle, and anyway, his friend lost his job. Anyway, it's just a mess. So anyway, so we created a plan. I created a spreadsheet for him. So let's take a look at what it would take to pay off that debt that you inherited, right? And I think this is literally the numbers that I used as a model for him. 3/16/2023. Oh, that's today's date. Okay, so this is based on today's date. So this auto populates based on today's date. Yeah, okay. All right. So whatever it is, what are we starting out with? Starting funds of $20. I haven't demoed that, right? So here's $20. I'm not going to mess with it. We're just going to take a look at it real quick. And we want to complete a mission one in 10 days. Um, okay. That was based on HD 2.0 with borrowed funds of, anyway, that's where the 10 days comes from. A reserve factor of 20. So what that means is you're only trading with 1/20th of the portfolio value. This is getting into some. It sounds really, really complicated, but it's not. Just take if you had $100 to trade, divide by 20, that's what you're allowed to trade with. I know everyone else says, "Oh, don't ever trade with more than 1/10 of your available funds." How about 1/20th? Let's make it safer. What happens is as you get good at this, and as your portfolio skips through the missions, you may start out with a reserve factor of 1, like I have with the bots, because there's very little risk there. And then maybe if reserve factor of 2 or reserve factor of 3. What's your goal per trade? So this is my 100x trading goal, 33%. Um, I've nailed down last year 600% ROI trades because I just decided after looking at the data to let it ride. So anyway, yeah, that's real stuff. Um, Number of trades from lookup. So what this is based on these numbers, payoff, the starting funds that you have, your mission cycle, your reserve factor. You come over here to find out when your payoff is, right? So we scroll down, and in this case, it was $35,000. You know what I can do? I could change this because you see my newer spreadsheet. That big color bar changes. I'll fix that. So whatever this is, it'll automatically you can just pull down, and you'll see the color change. So $35,000 was yeah, 457 trades. Yeah, you type that number in there. It calculates how many missions. 10.5 missions, starting with $20, pays off that debt. Isn't that cool? I think that's cool. I'm sorry. It tells you how many days, right? And how many months, how many trades per day, based on anyway. I can expand upon this, and I can probably maybe take this and duplicate it and just put in a bots planning thing in here, and then anyway, you get the idea. So I've got a whole new. I want to redo this before I release it. But this is a tool I want people to play with. But it looks really, really complicated. But I need to record a 5-minute video demonstrating it to go with it. All right, doubling missions. We've already seen this, right? This is one of the original ones, right? You start with $5, starting date. Well, let's see here. This is one of my older spreadsheets. What is today? Is March 16th. All right, boom. Yeah, it's starting today. And let's say days to double. We were looking at 10 days. This was 7 days. Let's use one of Diana's old averages before she was doing high leverage trading, 22 days. And what's the 100x? I don't even know what this is for. I was playing around with doing some crazy idea. I'd have to think about to figure out what this is for. I'm not gonna waste your time trying to figure out what it was. But with $5, you cross the $1 million mark here. 20 missions is the thing that I basically teach people to shoot for, because after taxes, it'll retire most people. Whatever your number is your number, right? It could be less than this or more than that. Most people pays off their debt somewhere between starting with $5, mission 12, and I'm not going to include someone's house. So between 12 and 14 will pay off most people's debts in America. And to pay off their house, the average house in America is what, like 700,000 or something like that. Crazy. I was reading some really, so somewhere, 18, but after taxes, you might have to go to 19. But whatever those numbers are for you, this type of a spreadsheet, this whole collection of sheets are tools to empower you to explore what is possible for you based on your financial capacity. So I'm not going to mention somebody's name, but let's just say they've got $1 million and they've got all these different types of portfolios. They set up a Roth owned LLC. If you want to know what the secret is, um, I'll save you a lot of time and research. That's a whole other conversation, but that's gonna be all made available. But let's say they had $10,000 available for speculation, right? As I told my friend, I want them to do the $5 to 10 thing and not even bother wasting their $10, throw it in a bot or whatever, but but work the missions. Do missions 1 through 10, starting with $5. You learn so much. Just do it as a hobby. Just do it when you go to the restroom throughout the day. If you get liquidated, you just start over. It's not a big deal. And you do full on 100x leverage. I have a whole training process to deal with the mind game. And yeah, I had a gentleman that was he was a he was an executive, retired from what was it? No, was it Goldman or was it Chase? I don't remember which. And he was so obsessed with winning. I literally created a training exercise for him called Let's Get Liquidated, where he had to either double his money or get liquidated with 0.01 ETH. At that time, it would have been about 27 cents. He literally couldn't do it. In fact, he was so embarrassed by it, he ghosted me. I haven't heard from him in months. I hope he comes back. He's a really great guy. Um, if Mr. Denver, I'm just going to use your name, Mr. Denver. If that's you, just reach out, buddy. Come on. All right. So, you could just 20 missions. Holy shit. You'd have to be able to get access to Binance. You're going to run into problems right now when you start having to do $500,000 trades. It'll slow you down unless you're on Binance. And you're going to have to, if you're trading ETH, you're going to have to switch to Bitcoin because of the more volatility and more liquidity. And these are things that we'll talk about when folks get there. But right now, when we're starting out with $5 and $10 and building up to $100,000 portfolios, you don't have to worry about it. On KuCoin, like getting orders fulfilled with ETH slows down somewhere around 50 ETH trading. Just saying. And it's probably slower now because the market's slower. That was when there was like $3 trillion of market cap. So you probably might deal with slippage and stuff, maybe dealing with, I don't know, 20 or 30 ETH. Anyway, I'm playing with bots right now, but I got the knowledge here to share. I just need the time to get it out, which is why I'm doing the Patreon thing. You help me build that up, retire me, so I've got the time to work on this stuff, evolve it, hire people out. That's kind of my thing. I'm going to retire one way or the other in 18 months. I think I could shortcut it if I get 33,333 people that want to learn this stuff from me. I could retire tomorrow. Right now I've got one Patreon member, but it always starts with one, just like the first trade with $5. All right. So this is buy back your life. This is the debt thing. This is the mission doubling. Will it work with a dollar? Yeah, it does. It works with a dollar. Even with a dollar, you become a millionaire on mission 20, starting with a dollar. And can you do that? Yeah, you can. You can trade 0.01 ETH. With right now, what is ETH at? ETH is at 16, so 16 and a half cents. Add 2 or 3 cents to that per trade. No, I've done it. I've literally done it. I've played with missions at that low level just to see how low can you go. And the lowest you can go, I don't know about Binance, but on KuCoin is 0.01 ETH. And everyone should just learn there. Seriously. It just scales. That's the beauty of it. That's why I love crypto. Is it just scales. If you can master 0.01 ETH and doubling a dollar to $2, we'll scale up to $100. Go from 100 to 200. I don't have a problem with that, but complete the mission one. If you switch to Bitcoin, I think you might be able to do it in Bitcoin because Bitcoin goes back like 8 digits or something. So you might even be able to do pennies with Bitcoin, but just do a quarter at a time, like you're playing Miss Pac-Man. God, I just dated myself. You know what I'm saying? All right. So this is just doubling. And this was based on the old take a penny and double it thing, right? You ever done that? Here's a penny. Takes you 20. Starting with a penny, which I think if you could trade a penny, maybe on Bitcoin, way back in the day, you could do it. It would take you 27 missions to cross $1 million with a penny. I mean, isn't this cool to just say, what? What? I mean, well, how about a nickel, David? I literally have spent an afternoon playing with these numbers just to get used to seeing, wow, where else could this apply? Well, I could go over and what's that one place where they buy and sell stuff all over the US? Or is it the world now? Um, Craigslist. What can you sell on Craigslist for a nickel that's owned and sell for a dime or 20 cents and just keep saying doubling? What happened is, you start with office supplies, the next thing you know, you're dealing with backpacks and equipment. Next thing you're dealing with maybe, hunting guns or things like that, or just stay out of that. You're dealing with small appliances, and then to double your money, you're maybe dealing with used cars. The next thing you're dealing with maybe better cars, and then maybe you're dealing with boats. But I'm just saying you're switching asset classes based on the amount of money where can you get a good deal, like 5 times less than its value, right? There's formulas for this, right? And then you can easily sell it. Easy money, low hanging fruit. My chair just broke. Oh, almost. Never mind. So this concept, when it gets in your brain, I keep looking at myself. When it gets in your brain, you start seeing how you could apply it everywhere. Suddenly you don't care about your job so much because it's creating a baseline. You're not working for that next promotion to just get an extra couple $100 a month because that doesn't even keep up with inflation, right? But other things do. You can start doing side gigs. But this spreadsheet has taught me so much, which has led to so many advanced strategies because is it possible from a nickel? Yeah, hell right it is. But really, I think in crypto, I think the best starting point is $5. And why is that? Because you can go over to Coinbase probably right now or KuCoin and do a learn to earn inside of maybe an hour. You can panhandle better than that. You can get the $5. All right. Or they'll give you trial funds on KuCoin within the first week. So what's this? Cash flowing target. Bot ROI. Oh, see, so I was playing with bots, even though I was already thinking about this. And also lump sum recovery based on APRs. So if you look at all my spreadsheets, you'll see things are in yellow, which I know are really ugly, and red. Those are where it's user entry. You know what I'm saying? So let's say most people, I've run the numbers off and on over the last 30 years. I'm guesstimating that most people's dreams come true if they're a 22-year-old couple, want to have 3.2 kids, one house, a vacation home, uh, vacations on a regular basis, um, college education funds, maxing out a Roth IRA, the whole 9 yards. How much monthly cash flow would that dream be? Last time I did it was like $27,000, $28,000 a month. I'm thinking it's probably 35,000. I'm just guessing. I have a spreadsheet to actually help calculate that. I recommend everyone just rather than just saying, "Oh, I want to live, I want that nice house." Well, what would it cost to live in that house? You can look up and find out what the taxes are. You put that down. How much? Find out what the utility bills. That's how much is that. The pool in the back. Well, you might have a $700 a month utility bill. Get the numbers. Why? Because now we can figure out how many missions you got to complete to put together a bot that you've been growing with that you can consistently get 0.25% a day, maybe. Well, how much money do you have to have in a bot that's scalping that a day? We work backwards. It's cool. Creating the spreadsheets is a pain in the ass unless you enjoy doing that. I enjoy doing that. So I did. I do these for me, and then I share it with all of you. All right. So $35,000 a month. You'd have to have a bot dropping in at 0.25% ROI. I'm doing 4 times that right now when I'm making a mistake. I'm averaging a little bit over 2% a day, but that requiring a little bit of work. This 0.25% a day scalping, I think that's low hanging fruit, easy money for a bot. So $460,000 dropped in a bot, and if you were to start it at the right time, you still have to manage it. I guess you could set and forget it. I've got a bot that I haven't looked at for like 6 or 7 months. Last time I looked at it, it was doing lunacy, which was going crazy. And it already scalped like 2 grand in USDT inside a tax saying I have to pay taxes on it legally. Yeah, you can do it. It just costs like $1,200 to set up and $600 a year to maintain. But anyway, I have a bot that I haven't looked at in 6 months because it launched properly. I should have launched it a couple days early. It would have been worth 10 times what it is now, but whatever. All right. So anyway, so this is for creating a bots for cash flow. And here's like if you were to win the lottery. So let's what is average tax? You know what? Oh no, we need to do it because the chat GPT doesn't the current information. Average tax free bond yield. What is it today? I want the worst. This is the worst. Tax yields. I don't want a course. Those bonds. What is today? Here we go. Google, can you give us U.S. corporate to AA effective compared to previous day long term 4 point? That's a bond. That's not tax free bonds. How about the Treasury rate? 4.45%. Okay, right. So let's just say 3% because it's less than that. It's kind of cool having access to information. So you need to win. So if you needed $35,000 a month of cash flow at 3% tax free, which means you don't have to pay taxes on it, right? Which is a little bit better than this figure over here. But if this was a tax free municipal thing, you need $14 million net, right? And that other spreadsheet, you can actually put in how much you need net. And it'll calculate what size you need to win and pre-tax win and after-tax win. I mean, I got tired of doing this by hand. I tell everyone, if you don't know how to do spreadsheets, I get it, I understand it. Go to Goodwill; they do it for free. Diana did it. She didn't know anything about spreadsheets, and she went down to Goodwill and spent the morning there. And I think she went through and got certified. They gave her a certificate. She was certified in introductory Excel and intermediate Excel, and she went to lunch and then come back for advanced. I'm like, why didn't you go for advanced? She says, I got you. I'm like, what? What? Gotta love her. All right. But yeah, so learn some spreadsheets. I love Google Sheets, very similar to Excel, but it's worth it because if you want to throw something together, you can throw something together. At 12%, you only need 3.5 million. At 1%, you need 42 million. Yeah, to make this cash flow. So this is my challenge to any billionaires that ever tune into this. How much is your dream life as a billionaire actually costing you a month? Okay. Well, let's go backward to see how much you have to put to work in tax-free municipals. So you never have to actually work again for the rest of your life. Just get it done. You're done. And there's a number. Now, everything above that, you should put to work and use for good. You should like volunteer to pay off things in your state, in your community. You should take on projects. That's called stewardship. When you start running the numbers and you start running the $1 billion numbers, let's say this is $1 million a month you needed for a million. How hard it is we can't see commas. So you need $400 million for $1 million a month cash flow. So when you got 28 million, $100 million, what are you doing with your money? There's plenty of money to go to Mars. Yeah, they're not even owning their numbers at that level, right? They are so out of touch that they don't realize that they're not being good stewards. You could probably use the same thing with our government. Like, how are we managing our money? That sort of thing. Let's look at the change log. I last worked on this. Buy back your life, blacked out section. I just did some cosmetic stuff. All right. So this spreadsheet, after some things that I see I would like to fix and make a little bit more clear on how to use it, will be released probably next week. Anyway, you get the idea. So I'm thinking about renaming the channel to DDTC Wealth, Health, and Relationships. Because it actually should be health, wealth, and relationships, because health, if you don't have your health, what good is wealth, right? I've been saying that a lot. I need to like create a little thing and just play it, make this more entertaining. But it's important. Last year, Diane and I, this is the health segment, okay, and I'm gonna show the video. I figured out another way of doing it, so I'm testing it out. You're gonna have to bear with me. Um, you know, I've lost 30 pounds. I forget anyway, she transformed herself, and she became a certified health coach. I started it though, because I sought it out. I used to be a senior certified health coach like 13, 14 years ago. 8 years ago, I had an auto accident, messed up my brain, scrambled my brain. I gained a lot of weight, leapt back, crossed the type 2 diabetes line, which is hard to uncross. Anyway, but anyway, we have a story and I wrote it up on Facebook, but let's see if this thing works in terms of displaying. So I'm gonna get rid of this, and there's this other cool thing, and I'll play this video. Hold it. Oh, wait a second. Stop, stop, stop. Alright. Of course, I messed it up. It remembered I was testing it a little bit before I started the stream, and it didn't start properly. Here, it's 1 minute and 35 seconds long. I'm just stopping it right there because I did not take that picture. Hold on, where is this? I took that picture and, we went and visited during COVID and stuff, and so this was like a year previous, to this picture. I love the music score, by the way. I created this video. I can't even recognize these 2. I mean, I'm with her, so I'm not it's just like a slow change over, like, 3 or 4 months, right? But when I went back to look for pictures to do before and afters for her, I was blown away. Anyway, so I'll let this finish out. Alright, I'm just gonna stop it there because it goes on with contact me, start a conversation, blah, blah, blah. Isn't she cute? God, I love this woman. Anyway, so, there I am. So she is a health coach, and she's tied into an incredible coaching team out of South Florida, of all places. And there's a story there, but, I work with folks, and I observe everybody that I know, we don't have the time to feed ourselves properly. We don't eat properly. We skip breakfast, we go to the local fufu thing, and I did a whole video on this, I think, somewhere on her like, she has a Facebook channel. I'm pretty much posting there. She's a little camera shy. I obviously am not. Um, but I've got a coworker that, went through the gastric bypass and stuff, and he uses the Optavia products to have that nutritional foundation, right? So rather than skipping breakfast, he has a shake. It uses it as a pantry tool, and because it's got everything: vitamins, minerals, prebiotics, probiotics, so all the balanced stuff. So everyone looks at it as like a weight loss thing, and it's not. It's a tool. It's right now food science is weaponized to addict you to stuff, and hence we have an obesity epidemic and a diabetes epidemic and blah, 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 right? And our food supply is so bad that even if you're shopping at, let's say, your favorite clean food place where everything's organic, blah, 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 I have concluded, I don't know about you, but I don't have the time to shop properly. I don't have the time to meal prep properly. I don't have the time to get it all right. If you don't get it all right, you're trending in the wrong direction. And one of the biggest things I taught my kids, and I came up with this working with foster kids, is not about figuring out what you want to do in life, although that's important. What's probably more important is finding what the trajectory is. So right now, I had a lot of weight to lose, and I'm probably a third of the way there. And I keep running into things where my body actually leaps forward in healing, and I have to reduce my medications. I literally have a monitor that if I were to if my body were to not process the meds properly, it causes a down spike. And what do I have to do? I have to go eat some candy or pie. Yeah, my health coach, and I have a health coach. I literally laugh. I said, "Yeah, we gained a few pounds because I had to disrupt a blood glucose spike down. It has been such a pain trying to lose weight as a diabetic." And Diana hit her goals last November, and she's been we have a process. She uses the food. She's more on normal foods, doesn't, she's more naughty foods here and there, but she uses it as a foundation for nutrition. So I decided that I'm going to include that as part of the training, and I support her, but she takes care of it. And I call it a healthy side gig. I actually grabbed that name. I haven't run a business model on it. Maybe you can make really good money with it. I don't know. I know most people, what happens is they get on the program, they have a result, all their friends and family want to know how they did it. And at that point, they have a choice. Do I refer or do I become a health coach? And I don't know, 13, 14 years ago, I was kind of greedy. So I became a health coach. I wasn't a really good health coach. And I was with a coaching team where it was all about the money. And it really, our clients got great results. I got a great result, but I didn't understand some things that I understand now. Like I should have stayed with it as a nutritional baseline. I don't know. I just made a mistake, and I'm paying for it. It's okay. I got a good story, right? So that's what the health piece is, and I'm kind of trying to make a format for these lives where I maybe touch on that a little bit. Her little that 1 minute thing just says it all, and but her clients are part of a larger team, and like her business coach and my health coach is a professional nutritionist too. So if someone has very specific medical related stuff, we got the inside track. And anyway, it's just a cool thing. So that's the health piece that I'm bringing to DDTC. If I find something better, I'll just add it to the toolbox. But this is the tool that I know works. So that's what that's about. If you're wondering what that is. Now, relationships. I have a process that I used after trying many, 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 many different processes, spiritual processes, religious processes, prayer processes, magical processes that never really quite worked. And then I created a process that actually did work. In fact, it worked twice, but the first time I ran into what I would call a really messed up pretty predator scenario where there was a wealthy abuser that was ruling over a family for like a decade. And that was about the time while I was really digging into it, I discovered like this domestic violence thing and blah, 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 blah. In fact, I think, let me bring this up since I mentioned it. I did it earlier today. Just one moment. I'm bringing up my little authoring website. It's more of a, what do I, there it is. Let me just show it up to us since I'm talking about it. I launched a massive program to raise like $200 million because there's an industry around domestic violence in our court systems around the United States that has 4,000 pieces of case law that need to be reversed. They exploit children and families for money, and the target is the person who has the most money in a relationship that's getting a divorce. But anyway, I wrote a whole blog posting just for that years ago for friends, and I updated it in 2022. And anyway, I've been wanting to change and help the world for a long time. In fact, where's my I haven't worked on here in a while. But anyway, there's some cool stuff in there. And I just wanted to mention that. So I'm working on a training course right now because I've got friends that are separating. I've got other friends who are they're leaning for a divorce, right? I got other folks that are, like they're looking for a relationship and they're tired of dating and just it's a mess. We just have a mess and the data is a mess. And I have my own system, which is different. And anyway, I'm creating a process for that. And I think I actually did a 1.5 hour like masterclass on it. And it's in a list somewhere. And I'm going to do a deep dive training. And that's all available now for free. You don't have to be a Patreon person or whatever. But two principles for relationships. Okay. If a relationship's going to work, if you're in a situation where it's not working, and you need to decide whether or not it's going to stay working or not working, there needs to be a willingness and reciprocation. Those are the two things. So a lot of times you reach a point where you're no longer willing and you stop reciprocating. And it's just you're as soon as one person stops reciprocating respect, reciprocating love and affection, reciprocating sex, reciprocating communication, reciprocation is huge. And then there's the willingness. So, like, let's say you were having a problem, but you're willing to work on it. And maybe you go to the Goddard Institute would be the one that I would recommend. And I have a document for this somewhere. And you're gonna get counseling not based on a religious belief system. I'm sorry. That ideology is great for the dude, but not so good for the ladies, right? Unless she's willing to be enslaved by that belief system. It is what it is, in my opinion. We could debate it, but every I'm not going to get into all the stories I got. I got a lifetime of stories around that. But the thing is, I believe in equality. It's just who I am. Um, I believe men have strengths, women have strengths, and we can develop strengths together, and we're more powerful together. I really liked the film, The Celestine Prophecy. If you haven't ever watched the film, it's really, really cool because people who tripped on shrooms crafted some of that. I'll just leave it at that. And that's great for healing brain injury stuff. I'll just throw that out. In Oregon, it's legal and they're doing, research on it. Thank God, finally. So the point is with a relationship, so if your partner's not willing to go to counseling and you are, there's your deal breaker. If you ever want to know where to draw the line, there it is. If they're no longer willing, if they're not willing to learn nonviolent communication, NVC, if they're not willing to learn better ways of handling their anger, if they're not willing to say, oh, I'm feeling angry. Hey, babe, I'm getting hot right now. I need to walk away. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Okay. If they're not willing to learn that and practice that with you, it's over. Because what's going to happen is you'll be in an abusive relationship on average 12 years. That's what the data says. I'm a data driven guy. I'm an IT guy. Show me the data. Ancient data, modern data, prehistoric data. I can't wait for AI to just give us factual analysis. I know it's really kind of funny. One of the political arms is trying they're trying to create this idea that AI is processing information against them. It's like, no, the data that you've created is so bad representing your ideology that an analytical adaptive AI will sit there and say, oh, you're bad. Just own your truth, baby. All right. And anyway, I'm looking forward to that AI stuff develop. It's either going to destroy us or it's going to save us, I think. Anyway, I love AI. I think it's interesting. I've always had a fascination for it. I hope it takes over law. Can you imagine that? You got a legal case and you're going up a big multi-billion-dollar corporation and they're in the wrong, but can you prove it? but you need $1 million just to hire the research. And you just type into your AI, here's my situation. And the AI has access to all the legal research on the world, going all the way back to the 1400s and all the precedences all the way down to your county. And says, yes, you have an actionable case. Here's all the case law, and here's how you need to cite. And you're done against a $100 million corporation in 2 minutes. AI will revolutionize law and make it available for the average person. That's amazing. And all of a sudden, these people might think twice before doing shit that hurts people or covering up shit that hurts people, our government included. So I see AI. They're all talking about the ethicity of it. They're scared. Those in power are scared shitless because suddenly an AI could actually access and be able to tell you which one of your elected representatives is actually breaking the law based on their patterns. I mean, seriously, it's really cool stuff. The people who don't have to worry about it is us little people. That's my opinion. It'll play out. We're going to have to deal with it anyway. And yeah, it's going to be weaponized. It already has been. It will be. We already have autonomous weapons and things. And it's just part of the world. All right. But relationships, man, I wasn't planning to get into that, but that's kind of cool. Showed up. I hope this has been interesting. I'm going to play my end of whatever affirmations. I didn't play my disclaimer thing because the disclaimer is rolling across the bottom now. So I don't have to waste like 2 or 3 minutes of our time with that. I still might every once in a while. But let's here are the affirmations that everyone should write down and memorize. LHF, by the way, stands for low hanging fruit. Let me explain this. I know it's repetitive. When you take the easy money, the low hanging fruit, that means you have total confidence that there's unlimited opportunity coming your way. When you stay in longer, you need to be because you're worried that, oh man, yeah. I mean, I get annoyed too when I took 30% and I could have made another 400%. Yeah, that bothers me too. But you know what? It doesn't matter. What's more important than that little home run, right, is consistency. That's what's important. The consistency of being able to nail down wealth producing levels of return. And for bots, that's for me right now. It's starting with, can I keep and maintain 2% ROI on average per day? And so far, so good. It's and I don't have a system in it yet. I'm creating the system, and you're watching it. You're watching it happen. All right, let's play this little thing with affirmations or mantras. All those little things. So if a trade goes south on me or I have a life event happen, right? Those are the things that I say to myself. Those are the things that are written around everywhere, all sorts of stuff. Anyway, it's part of the system of me weaponizing messaging that serves me and creating the story for myself. I love this one too, because this is what we're about. Because we're looking for a way out, right? Yeah. And this is kind of what we're working on right now. This is why you've tuned in. I'm almost guaranteed this is why you're tuned in. And why is that important? So let's look at an obvious thing. Let's look at Putin. Okay. He invaded a country he didn't need to invade. Right? Ego, right? He's a billionaire, right? Most powerful, has access to nukes, right? All this cool stuff. One of the third largest powers in the world. And he had to go after Ukraine. For what? Natural gas? The scarcity and fear of who he is and how he's born and raised is just oozing. And lots of his countrymen have died because of it. And it's a conscripting service. It's just, there's nothing good ever could have come out of it from the beginning. He should have been able to logically figure it out. Wouldn't it have been better if he had just been friends with the Ukraine and bought their gas and helped them become a powerhouse country to protect their border and been a friend? He obviously didn't read Art of War, where the highest martial art is turning your enemies into your friend. What he did is he created an enemy, and now it just he's a billionaire. I This is my new thing, is like billionaire pricks where all the money and power in the world is not enough for them. Well, we're we're not going to get rid of them, and we're not going to get rid of their offspring. What do we have to do? We have to train them to have a better life, because they're getting divorced too. They're having their assets disseminated. They're dealing with threats and stuff. Every time they make bad decisions that hurt people, they create blood rights or revenge against them. They have to hire security guards. I mean, seriously, they're not living great lives because of the decision making that they're making. They need to be retrained. Simple. The best thing that Putin could do right now is stop, apologize to the world, and turn himself over to The Hague for prosecution for his war crimes, along with every single one of his soldiers that committed a war crime, and set a leadership example. Yeah, that'd be the best. That'd be kind of cool to see a leader actually do that, right? There's going to be the first one that does it and sets the tone. It hasn't happened yet. I don't think, right? Because it's not safe to do it, and people have ego, and by the time they figure out what they did was wrong, it's too late. So they end up shooting themselves, hanging themselves, or whatever, right? Rather than facing prosecution, right? They commit suicide. That's how that corruption works, and it's all unnecessary. We need some leaders that were corrupt to say, "Hey, let's not do it. Let's put our wealth and power to work for good." We need to create that story of possibility. So when they're sitting there looking at their gun and shooting themselves in the head, that they'll sit there and say, "You know what? I watched this silly little dude that looks like hippie Santa." I make a great Santa, by the way, or Odin when he's not wearing his headband. Hippie Odin mentioned a few things when he tweeted at me before I really got too far into the war. It actually kind of made a lot of sense. I tuned into his YouTube, and it's like, man, he's got a growing organization. He's got 333 members all around the world, and they're all doing good things, and they're becoming independently wealthy, and they're showing up at our $2,000 dinners, and they're challenging us while we're talking nonsense. They're saying, wait a second, well, what about your oath? And what about the golden rule? And all these little principles that we all know, they know it too. But now they're sitting across the table from somebody that's financially empowered, saying, "What gives?" Right? You want me to make a donation of $100,000? Then you need to honor your oath of office. You need to honor your oath to the people, not your party. Well, I need to train you and get you there financially so you can be at that table wherever in the world you are. We need people in North Korea, South Korea, China, all the countries of the world. We need to get people empowered. And that's what I see cryptocurrency as being able to do. That's why I'm so excited about it. Okay. That's why I'm doing this. All right. Help me get there. I don't want to be anyone's guru, because I figure eventually we'll have teams of people, so we can have somebody like figuring out Forex and Forex bots. And then we can put a team of people on options, and we can put a team of people on real estate, and we can put a team of people on buying businesses. And because we won't need to go create a hedge fund for this in private equity, because we are the private equity, right? There's just so much we can do once we got to get, we got to get the organization together. We got to get the people in alignment with the principles. Okay. From that, everyone's a leader in this sort of thing. And I will create the infrastructure, the nonprofit, all the legalities and stuff like that, stuff written in stone, so no one can just like hijinks it and just change the mission in the future. And then the consensus model that I've created is, you have an organization. That organization is the resources, but there are things that need to get done. So somebody, a leader, identifies themselves and goes after a mission. And the people that want to support that mission create a team, and they go out of the collective, get the job done, come back and report to consensus. That's how you get shit done as consensus. No one's doing this model. I introduced it like 20 some years ago to a men's team I was on. No one understood it at the time, but it worked. I tested it. It was brilliant. And I want to get back to it. I got this thing about businesses. Wouldn't it be cool if all businesses could if we could reduce the minimum wage to $1 an hour for anyone who's a multimillionaire? And everyone else, the minimum wage is $300 an hour, meaning they have the financial power to become wealthy along with some coaching and counseling, which is provided by the business. What would that look like? You have this wall of people that get promoted to minimum wage. That's what it looks like. If anyone runs with that idea, you owe me. Just saying. That's mine. I think I have written it up. I don't know if I patented or whatever. It's a business process patent thing. But anyway, it's an idea and it's cool. It would solve a lot of problems. So we can think differently if we get out from under the stress of thinking the way we are. There's so many solutions if we just ask, how can we? Like immigration versus asylum. Why aren't we building asylum city in America where it's like protected? So like they're not actually coming into America, they're coming for asylum. Asylum literally means rest. There was a model in the 1800s created by Dr. Hawthorne out of Portland, Oregon, buried at the Lone Fir Cemetery. And he owned all of Hawthorne Boulevard, which used to be called Asylum Boulevard, because when people got off the Oregon Trail, they were traumatized and couldn't function. And they could go to his asylum and rest. And when they were well enough, they could work on small chores and contribute to the asylum community. And when they were well enough to return to normal life, they did. And some people never did. They stayed, but they all had purpose. People from around the world came to study Dr. Hawthorne's model. And I'm sitting here watching I won't say it, at our borders and both sides of the political aisle. And it's like, why don't you guys just deploy what Dr. Hawthorne proved in the 1800s in Oregon? Do that. And then teach these people skills and empower them to go to their home countries and rebuild their place of birth that they love. Oh, we are not even having the conversation at that level. We're trying to figure out how much money to send them and how big the next FEMA camp needs to be. And it's like, oh, great. So we got all these people sitting around doing nothing, bored. Well, we can send the kids to school. At least they have a purpose. I mean, seriously, what are we thinking? We have the data. We know how to solve these problems. I cannot be the only person living in the world in little old Kaiser, Oregon, as a mainframer that's got long hair and a beard that is able to think out solutions like this. I don't know. Our politics is a joke. It's a popularity contest. It's like going back to high school. It's like we've never outgrown high school. Let's vote for the king and queen, and that's who we put in power. What? I won't say it. Oh, it's not good. I can get on a rant. All right, everybody, have a great evening. If you need to rewatch this, do it from YouTube. Help support that Patreon thing. I did a 3-hour thing on Monday. If you want to get to know me and what drives me, I really had a lot of segues. I know it's 3 hours, but you can listen to it probably at 2x speed. But you might learn about me, see if you like me, that sort of thing. And what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to get enough folks I'd love to upgrade this service and have it self-sustaining. But it's like hundreds of dollars more to go to high def and things. And I want to get some new cameras so I can like switch angles every 3 seconds like you're supposed to and get some background music going and then have, a producer keeping me on track. That all costs money to do it right. I don't want volunteers, and I think minimum wage should be $30 an hour, so when I actually hire people, I don't wanna pay anything less than that plus benefits. I want it factored in. Why? Because if I'm gonna run it as a business model, I factor that into the business model. I don't need the government to create a law to tell me what needs to be. I can look at it as a business leader and run the number and saying, "Well, people need this. This is where it should be." The fact that our leaders aren't doing that means that they haven't been trained in how to be good leaders or good stewardship. I want to unleash those types of messages to the world through this organization that I call DDTC. The principles are called POTU, Path of the Unlimited, which means I don't care what your belief systems are. These principles are nothing but a clarifying addendum to what you already know, including Putin, who is a member of the Russian Orthodox Christian Church. And it was the Russian Orthodox Christian Church that said, Mr. Putin, God needs the Ukraine back in the fold. We need to bring back Mother Russia. it was it was literally another religious conquest, and there was only one news report. It's been Putin's war ever since. I'm not I'm not trying to beat up on any belief system. I'm just saying I've noticed that when we do documentaries, they're doing initials instead of naming the religious backings that led to the inspiration of this crazy stuff. We refuse to look at the data. We got to stop refusing to look at the data. Willingness, reciprocation. We can't change our relationships with our world, with our other nations, without willingness and reciprocation. That's the core foundation of all relationships, in my opinion. All right. Now, how do you find Mr. and Mrs. Right? How do you recreate all that's actually I went over that already last week, hour and a half. Cool stuff. Everyone, good night. And this one. You know what's really interesting is there's so much AI content being pumped out. You never know if it's original content or not. And I'm even playing with it too. If you're wondering about that, I'll wrap up this. AI is a really good collaborator, but if you really want to get into some depth with it outside of the structure that it produces, it's quite an amazing tool to collaborate with. So anyway, I might just do an AI channel just for shits and giggles and see what it produces, and then maybe do commentary on it. But I just don't have enough time for it right now, working full time and stuff. Although, while I'm healthy enough to do it and while I can do it, I need to get it done, right? All right. Everyone have a great night. David out. Oh, and the next one. I try to do these in the morning, take a look, see what happened in the morning. Did I make money? Am I out of my bot? Right? All that sort of stuff. I'll debrief you around noon, or actually probably around 1. And then tomorrow night, somewhere after midnight, I want to get in a cadence. And then that'll lead to the decision making. Even if I don't have the training course in place, you can start watching the decision making. Maybe it'll rub off on you, and we'll figure it out. If you got a question, just hit me up on Facebook is usually why I'm always hanging out. And I'm also monitoring the YouTube channel. But Facebook just makes it really, really easy for me because I've been there since the beginning. I'm learning YouTube. I'm learning Twitch. I've never gotten into Twitter. Sorry, although this is broadcasting to Twitter too. So shout out Elon. Hey man, throw me $1 billion and put me, and I can really probably help you change the world. But I don't think you get it. But go read my thing on my website, Elon, if you're watching this for shits and giggles, because you have nothing better to do in the middle of the night. Go read that. And if that resonates with you, I mean, literally, I got some ideas that would revolutionize your human resource problems that you're running into in all of your companies. And maybe might help you with your relationships with everyone you're in a relationship with. Just saying, Elon, hook me up. All right, we'll talk. Everyone does that. Shouts out to Elon, right? Who knows? I actually started a project. I started it. It's like I just decided. I wrote him once about an idea, bringing some of the Tesla tech stuff to sailboats. Because I had a friend who was really into sailboating, and he was in Panama. We could have set something up. It would have been a fun thing to do, and I think probably would have been good for the environment. Very, very profitable. That's one of so many great little business plans. I just don't have time. My thing is seeing the vision, creating an outline for it, and then letting someone else run with it. And I've had billionaires grab some ideas and make a shit ton of money with it, and they seem to forget where the idea came from. I'm not going to mention someone who works out of Puerto Rico. He's a really nice guy. It's just kind of cool, but whatever. David out. Have a good morning until the next stream, everybody.